When nature's fury meets human engineering, the results can be catastrophic. We build these massive structures, these concrete giants, to hold back trillions of gallons of water, thinking we've tamed the wild. But what happens when our creations fail? Today we're going to look at something you rarely get to see: the exact moment these colossal dams give way. We've compiled the most powerful, the most insane, the most unbelievable dam breaks ever captured on film. This isn't just about destruction, it's about the sheer raw power of water unleashed in an instant, changing landscapes and lives forever in a matter of seconds. You're about to witness events that unfolded with terrifying speed, where entire towns were wiped off the map faster than you can imagine. We're talking about walls of water taller than skyscrapers moving at the speed of a freight train. Each clip tells a story of a day that started like any other and ended in a historic catastrophe. Some of this footage is so wild it looks like a Hollywood blockbuster, but this is all 100% real. We're starting this list with what many call the deadliest dam failure in human history, the Banqiao Dam in China. Imagine a dam designed to withstand a 1 in 1,000 year flood. Sounds pretty safe, right? Well, in August 1975 they got a 1 in 2,000 year flood. This wasn't just rain, it was a typhoon, Typhoon Nina, that stalled over the region and dumped more than a year's worth of rain in just 24 hours. The engineers were in a race against time, but the sheer volume of water was something nobody had ever planned for. The reservoir behind the Banqiao Dam began to rise at an insane rate. The pressure building on the dam wall was unimaginable. The water level surged over the crest of the dam. It was an instantaneous, explosive collapse. An unbelievable 160 billion gallons of water were unleashed in a single moment. The wave obliterated everything in its path. The initial flood took tens of thousands of lives almost instantly, but the nightmare was far from over. The aftermath was a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions. It's a sobering reminder of the forces we try to control. Next up, we have a disaster that's different from all the others. The Vajont Dam in Italy didn't actually break. The dam itself, an engineering marvel of its time. For months, engineers and locals had noticed the ground moving on the slopes of Machchu. Then, at 10:39 in the evening, it happened. A section of the mountain measuring over a mile long and over a mile wide, weighing an estimated 260 million cubic meters, broke free. The landslide displaced a colossal amount of water instantly. This wave was over 800 feet high. The dam held. It was so well built that it withstood a force far beyond anything its designers could have ever conceived. But holding was almost irrelevant. The 800-foot-tall wave of water continued unimpeded over the top of the dam and crashed down into the Piave Valley below. The entire town of Longarone was erased from existence in less than 4 minutes. The Vajont Dam disaster claimed around 2,000 lives, all while the structure that was supposed to be the main danger remained perfectly intact. It's a terrifying lesson that sometimes the biggest threat isn't the dam itself, but the environment we build it in. This next one is a classic case of an engineering nightmare. Malpasset Dam in southern France, a symbol of post-war progress, a beautiful, elegant, thin-arch dam, a masterpiece of design. The fatal flaw was deep underground, the rock beneath the dam. That evening the caretaker heard cracking sounds. At 9:13 p.m. the ground gave way, the structure failed catastrophically, and instantly, it unleashed the entire reservoir, 50 million cubic meters, in one wave. A wall of water over 130 feet high charging down the narrow valley at 45 miles per hour. Buildings, bridges, railway lines. Destruction was swift and absolute. Over 423 people died, including more than 135 children. A brutal lesson. Brilliant design means nothing if you don't understand the ground. Now we're going back in time to one of the most infamous disasters in American history, the Johnstown Flood of 1889. The culprit was the South Fork Dam, an earthen dam 14 miles upstream of Johnstown. They made a series of terrible modifications. In late May 1889, the region saw record rainfall. Lake Conemaugh began to swell dangerously. At 3:10 p.m. on May 31st, the dam failed. The entire lake, 20 million tons of water, emptied in 45 minutes. It became a monstrous inland tsunami. It picked up trees, houses, railroad cars, miles of barbed wire from a local factory. The flood turned into a semi-solid wall of debris, grinding everything in its path. Then it caught fire. The final death toll, 209 people. The Johnstown Flood became a national scandal and shaped new legal precedents against corporate negligence. The haunting early photographs seared the disaster into the nation's memory forever. Let's move to India, to a disaster driven by the overwhelming power of a monsoon. The Machchu-2 Dam was an earthen dam on the Machhu River in Gujarat. In August 1979, the region experienced unprecedented monsoon rains. Water began to overtop the 4-kilometer-long earthen embankments. At around 3:30 p.m. on August 11th, the earthen walls of the dam disintegrated. Within minutes, a massive wall of water was unleashed, heading directly for the unsuspecting city of Morbi. The city was caught completely off guard. When the wave hit Morbi, it was catastrophic. The aftermath was a scene of utter horror. The official government figures stated that around 1,800 people died, but unofficial estimates placed the death toll as high as 25,000. It highlighted the critical importance of designing infrastructure not just for typical conditions, but for the absolute worst-case scenario. This next disaster is unique. It happened in the middle of a major American city, Los Angeles, but deep beneath the dam, a fatal flaw was slowly growing. On the morning of December 14, 1963, a caretaker found water seeping from the downstream face. A frantic evacuation of 16,000 residents began. News helicopters swarmed the scene, broadcasting live to the city. With cameras rolling, a massive V-shaped chunk collapsed. A wall of water and mud surged down the canyon toward the evacuated neighborhoods. Miraculously, thanks to early warning and evacuation, only 5 people lost their lives. The Baldwin Hills failure was a wake-up call for urban dam safety. It showed, in real time, the terrifying consequence of building reservoirs above populated neighborhoods without accounting for geological risk. For our final clip, we're looking at something much more recent. In May 2020, after days of historic rainfall in Michigan, 2 dams failed in spectacular fashion. This event forced the evacuation of over 10,000 people and caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. The Edenville Dam was the first to go. The failure of the Edenville Dam sent a massive flood wave downstream directly towards the next dam in line, the Sanford Dam. The combined floodwaters from both failed dams surged towards the city of Midland. Drone footage from the aftermath shows a landscape completely transformed. It's a stark reminder that these disasters are not a thing of the past. Aging infrastructure, combined with increasingly extreme weather, means the threat of dam failure is very real, right here and right now. Watching these videos, it's impossible not to be humbled. We build these incredible structures to harness the power of nature for our benefit, but these clips are a terrifying reminder of what happens when that power is unleashed. Respect the power of nature. The safety of our dams isn't just an engineering problem. It's a life-or-death responsibility that protects millions of people living downstream. These events, separated by decades and continents, share a common lesson about the importance of maintenance, proper engineering, and preparing for the absolute worst-case scenario. We have to learn from these tragedies to ensure they aren't repeated. I hope watching this gives you a new perspective on the massive infrastructure that's all around us and the incredible forces they hold in check every single day. If you found this as mind-blowing as I did, smash that like button. Let me know in the comments which dam failure shocked you the most. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.